There are all kinds of arguments against the national emergency that Donald Trump declared, believe it or not, just less than a week ago. But before you get to any of the legal ones or the rhetorical ones, what about the entire stated rationale for emergency powers, the claim from Trump and his allies that rising immigration to the southern border has reached crisis levels? It is not true at all, and you hear it a lot.
There is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border.
All right, the crisis at our southern border is growing more serious every day.
We see what happens when we have a large influx of people on the southern border.
Unaccompanied children are pouring over, trying to come through the border in ways that we've never seen.
We, in the last month, just returned to the highest levels of illegal immigration across our southern border.
That is false, and not in a minor or nuanced way. It is what we fact checkers call super false. Immigration at the southern border isn't at an all-time high. It's near an all-time low. And it's actually worth mastering these facts as America begins a very long Trumpy debate over his wall money. Look at the federal data here from past administrations all the way up to the Trump administration. Under 1 million people were basically caught crossing the Mexico border in 1980, a figure that grew in the 80s, spiking in 86. Over the next decade, the 90s, you can see some fluctuation and a trend upwards. This shows the recent peak for immigration, which is not now or 2016 when Trump ran. It's almost 2 decades ago, because then, as you go towards 2000, you have this decline, dropping lower than even those 80s levels. And then here is the current era. From 2010 until today, some of the lowest numbers on record, including 2017, which was the single lowest Mexican migration since 1980, with a small uptick last year, far below all the other tall bars you see on the left. So regardless of ideology or whether you like the idea of a president seizing money that Congress didn't authorize for a wall or for school lunches or solar panels, whatever you think of that part of the debate, these facts are not a debate. These are the facts about declining immigration from Mexico into the U.S. and from the border to the streets to the Beltway. We have to keep it real, even if other people are fronting. As the great Sean Carter once wrote, my name is just the facts, while the rest of y'all just adjust the facts. Put words together just to match. I say what's real, y'all adjust to that. So, just the facts tonight. Here's another one you need to know. America now sends Mexico more people than they send to us. So over a 5-year stretch, you can see it right here, about 800,000 Mexican citizens came here, and a larger number, 1 million Mexicans who were in the U.S. were going back to Mexico. This is what is called net negative migration, or another simple way to look at it. As you can see, the red arrow is the 800,000 Mexican immigrants that have come over to the U.S. over several years. But the green arrow is the larger number, a higher number of people returning to Mexico. That is another fact that shows immigration is just simply, as a matter of facts and history, in decline right now. And that is at odds with Donald Trump's long-running false claims about immigration to justify a wall that was pledged on the basis of another false claim that Mexico would fund a wall. A whopper so laughable, Trump himself used it as a punchline when he hosted SNL as a new candidate in 2016. The proof, Trump knew he was lying and was in on the con as he milked this idea that a pledge would ever be paid by Mexico. He milked it as a joke.
Mr. President, the president of Mexico is here to see you.
Oh, that's great. Send him in. Ah,
Donald!
Enrique.
I brought you the check for the wall.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Very funny. The real joke, though, is serious. The joke that Trump played was anyone who believed that, his supporters. And then he played a joke on himself by setting such high expectations he could never fulfill them, even when he controlled the Congress with his Republican Party, and boxing himself into an unfunded corner. A wall that he can't pay for, which now requires new falsehoods about immigration, which is actually declining. Which brings us full circle back to a Jay-Z dichotomy. The choice between adjust the facts or just the facts. And when you're given that choice in the Trump era, I'm telling you, every time the best thing is to stick to just the facts. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.